The date was January 26, 2023. In a coordinated digital strike, the FBI didn't just catch a cybercriminal organization, they turned the tables. They seized the network of the Hive ransomware gang, effectively hacking the hackers, and notified 300 victims before the criminals even knew their keys were gone. This was a victory heralded across the intelligence community, a display of offensive power unparalleled. But as the confetti fell on this tactical win, a far more unsettling reality was brewing in the shadows of the very systems sworn to protect us. How could the same government capable of such precise digital infiltration remain chronically vulnerable to threats that are not only known, but actively exploited? It started quietly, months earlier, with a single, mass-produced piece of software called Move It Transfer. It wasn't a targeted, state-sponsored attack. It was a single flaw in a widely adopted file transfer application. Yet through that one vulnerability, the Russian ransomware group CO0P managed to slip past defenses at the Energy Department and dozens of other federal agencies. It wasn't a custom-built key, it was a mass-produced skeleton key that opened hundreds of government doors. The data streamed silently out, often long before the patch was fully implemented across the sprawling federal landscape. The sophistication of the attack matters less than the negligence of the defense. Then came the internal audit. In a stark demonstration of systemic failure, a government watchdog successfully executed a penetration test against the Department of Interior's cloud environment. The vault wasn't just unlocked. The watchdog walked right in using the front door the agency forgot to. The official report later confirmed the department failed to implement security measures capable of preventing or detecting what they called well-known and widely used techniques. They didn't need zero-day exploits. They needed a security checklist that was actually followed. If you're suspected of being anti-regime, a wrongdoer, a wrong thinker, they will send you to the camp. This reveals the core tension of the unseen data war, a gaping chasm between offensive capability and defensive hygiene. While one arm of the government develops tools to bypass encryption on WhatsApp and signal holographic visualizations of encrypted data streams being decrypted, another arm leaves its critical infrastructure open to basic intrusion. The millions spent refining the sword are contrasted sharply by the cardboard shield left hanging on the wall. We have the infrastructure for global surveillance, operating from spy stations like Pine Gap in Australia, designed to intercept everything 24/7, yet the foundations within our own borders are rotten. The threats aren't always external or state-sponsored. The risk is compounded by internal organizational chaos. Consider the chilling reports from a whistleblower concerning the Department of Education. They claim that to meet cost-cutting targets, a mainframe database containing the personal information of hundreds of millions of Americans, social security numbers, detailed records, was copied onto an insecure platform. The threat doesn't always cross borders. Sometimes it's just a database copied onto a private server. This shows how budget spreadsheets can become the true enemy of national security. When the LAL0P actors exploited Move It, scores if not hundreds of entities likely had sensitive data quietly exfiltrated before any patch was fully applied. The data is already gone, spirited away while the world focused on the initial breach notification. This quiet bleeding is the hallmark of modern espionage. It's not a single dramatic explosion, but a slow, systematic draining of information. It means detection is only half the battle. The time between discovery and hardening is the hacker's golden hour. We are left facing a fundamental question that defines this war. We know the US government possesses the tools to infiltrate the most secure networks globally. We know they can track and neutralize organized crime syndicates like Hive by stealing their digital keys right out of their infrastructure. This offensive success proves deep technical expertise exists. But what specific government entities are currently facing the highest risk of compromise due to these known deficiencies? The answer reveals the invisible front line. It's the failure to adhere to the absolute basics. The Department of Interior's auditors confirmed that the successful hack wasn't complex. It was a failure in basic logging and response that allowed the breach to go undetected for weeks. They didn't just get in, they stayed for weeks and the system never blinked. This suggests that while we worry about state-level adversaries deploying zero-day attacks, we are currently most vulnerable to entry-level threats because of systemic, documented negligence in implementing simple security protocols. This is the unseen data war. It's not about the celebrated counter-strikes against sophisticated gangs. It's about the quiet, persistent failure to secure the most basic digital doors across federal agencies. The sophistication of the attack is irrelevant when the lock is left broken. The systems designed for defense are being undermined not by superior hacking, but by unpatched, known vulnerabilities. And until that structural negligence is corrected, the promise of our offensive cyber superiority remains nothing more than a distraction from the slow leak happening right beneath our feet. The next catastrophic breach won't arrive with a bang. It will arrive the same way the watchdog entered the Department of Interior, quietly, because someone forgot to turn the key.